it's possible he has Dandy Walker. As some person who finds out something, what do? When in doubt, we Google.
I actually ended up having a plastic surgery in middle school.
Where was it on your face? Because I can't even tell.
What do you do? What do we do to build our faith, to build our character? And who are we surrounding ourselves with? You can't get over your addictions if you're hanging with the same people who's doing what you're trying to get away from. Who, you know, it may be entertaining, it may be fun, it may be this, but no, some people we have to sever ties with, because we may not understand what we're connecting ourselves to, may be draining the very life out of us, the very spiritual things that we are looking toward. So it all sounds easier said than done, but it's really not. We have to rely on the word and rely on the people that God will place in our life. We have to pray and we have to allow the Holy Spirit to lead us.
Before I was a man, I was a boy. And as a boy, I often wondered, how do I become a man? What exactly do I need to do to become a man? What makes a man? Is a man only a provider for his family? Is he only a husband to his wife? Father to his children? That is the question.
Kind of my first question that I really want to dive into is, when you think of the phrase "be a man," what images or memories kind of rise up within you? So who wanna take that?
So for me, growing up as a man, you gotta be a provider, you gotta be a protector, all these things that the world wants you to be. But there's not too many people, or at least in my childhood, my upbringing, that was really a true role model of a father or actually being a man.
Mm-hmm.
I had my father, he was present, he actually worked, but he didn't, I didn't have tough conversations with him like, hey, this is how you be a man, this is how you approach your woman, this is how you talk to your kid, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of things that he was lacking, especially emotional intelligence. And that's part of being a man, even dealing with relationships with exes before. Oh, as a man, you got to pay for dinner. As a man, you got to go ahead and do this. You got to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much responsibility as being a man that not even for ourselves, but even with the world trying to put burdens on us that we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something simple as, hey, as a man, you're supposed to hold the door. As a man, you got to pay for this. As a man, you can't cry.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be a human being. I have emotions just like you.
Right.
So it was just a lot of burdens that I was holding in because you being a man or me being a man, it was kind of tossed as something bad, like a bad connotation. It wasn't deemed as something good.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt.
Yeah.
Definitely agree with John, but I want to say like what it comes to my head when I try to think of that is basically I think of what my brothers and my stepfather at the time what would be say is like to be a man. Basically, you can't be around your mom all the time. You can't hang with girls all the time. You can't do all the time. But before all that, I was raised by my mom and my grandma primarily, and like
Mm-hmm.
my oldest brother was there, but he was like it's like he was really raising me. He was just trying to be a brother more so than anything else. And my dad was in and out, so like he was there and not there. So when you had different men in your life who were just not all similar, the
Mm-hmm.
idea of a man becomes the idea of what you see as a man becomes painted as something you see like something you see repeatedly opposed to what you see is not continuous. So and just to break that down just a little bit better, I didn't see a constant visual of what a man was amount of people around me. I had to see a constant visual based on what I seen on like TV, what I heard from, or basically what I heard of, based on what certain people said. Like certain things people would say that all were like the same thing. So basically like, oh, basically be tough, be tough, be tough, no emotion, no emotion, be alone, and cut everything out that you don't need, X, Y, Z. So that's what I was taught was my ideal, the
Yeah.
idea of being what a man was, but it didn't work because it's like I was a little more emotional than most young men or guys who probably in your life. Because of that reason, I was definitely picked on and teased a lot for being either a mama's boy or not being man enough.
I feel like when I hear that phrase, it automatically takes me back to just like you crying over something and you got that male figure they telling you to be a man, stop crying, toughen up. And that's just like I said, it's things we still hear today. Even with just like peers around, even just like strangers outside with their kids, you still hear stuff like that today.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely feel that.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like everybody's experience points back to like their first instance relating to toxic masculinity,
Mm-hmm.
where the stereotype of a man is how people teach others how to be a man. So it's very similar. Like when you're 5, 6, 7 years old and you're playing, your first sport, and you are glorified for how brutal you can be, and you're taught these things at a young age. And if you fall down, you can't cry, or if somebody hurts your feelings, you can't talk about it, but instead you got to suck it up and you got to suppress your feelings. I feel like we're taught those things at an extremely young age.
So I just want to touch on a specific topic that we actually didn't get to talk about within the panel. And this one particular question that I want to discuss is this. So when you think back on the voice of your father, whether it being your actual father or um, a person that represented being that father figure or the voice of God, whatever that voice of your father was, or the absence of it, what did it teach you about love, identity, or survival?
So I'll say this, man. I am truly, truly blessed for my life
Mhm,
and for what God has put into my life. Not
mhm,
only for a dad that I've had, a father that I've had over 24 years, but also for a father in heaven, right?
mhm,
Because my God comes first before my father on earth does. So when I got more into the word to know what love meant to me, I knew that it was loving people throughout their flaws, throughout their circumstances, loving people for who they are, right? And when I seen my father on earth do it, I said, this gotta be real. This gotta be right. This has gotta be how you supposed to treat people, how you supposed to be there for people.
mhm,
Because what my God in the Bible and the word does, that he he was uplifting, right? He spread it love, right? That's why he always talks about speak life over people, not
mhm.
death,
Right.
right? Right. And I saw my father on earth do that. So
Mhm,
I seen him speak life into me. I saw him speak life into his family,
mhm,
especially being a protector, right? He was a he still is a protector over the family,
mhm,
especially his wife. And those things would never leave from me because I've seen it for over 24 years. So it's already embedded into me. And then speaking of just being able to be a child of God, I've seen God do it, just through his people. Because it's not just my father that does it. I've seen God work through different children that he has,
mhm.
and they do the same thing, right? Because I know how love is represented. I know how love should be represented, or
Right.
should be spoke about. So it's truly a blessing to have a father, for real, because I know that a lot of people don't have fathers. So I love it. I love
Right.
it, bro.
If your future son or mentee asked, how do I become whole? What would your healed answer sound like?
Mm. How do I become whole? If my future son said that,
Mhm,
um, first, because I always gotta acknowledge God, right? Um, Acknowledge God in His ways,
mhm,
right? Knowing that He has your steps already ordained for you,
mhm,
right? This is what I would tell my son, because I don't have your steps laid out and what you're supposed to do. I have wisdom or knowledge of what you may need to do, but the Lord knows the ways once you delight in Him, right?
mhm,
So I would tell my son be to become fearful, fear the Lord first,
mhm,
so that wisdom may come upon you first, so that you will know how to go about things and where to go, but also to become whole, right? Because when I became whole, I put my life into God's hands instead of mine, right? Or instead of the ways that I wanted to plan it out to be, right?
mhm,
So to become whole, I feel like especially you got to get around great people, right? Good people. What I mean by great people is that they know you mess up, but they're here to pick you up too,
mhm,
right? Because they know that you're going through things too, but
mhm.
they're still here because out of their humility, they will not judge, but they will
Exactly.
listen,
Exactly.
right? So when you have people right there that like iron sharpens iron, that's what that talks about to me. When you sharpen somebody iron, you motivating them even when they're at their highs and their lows,
Mhm,
right? So I would tell my son, get around good people, not people that'll break you down and mistreat you, people that will make you whole just because you feel the love and the appreciation of who you are, right?
And
And yep, go ahead.
I was going to say, and also make sure those people hold you accountable to your actions.
Yes. Yep. And that's a big part. That's a big part. When you got people that'll hold you accountable and not just let you just keep walking in the same type of sin, not let you keep walking in the same type of just going through the motions. No, they here for you. They say, man, come on, get back up. You got this.
Mhm.
Let's lock in. Right?
Mhm.
You feel whole. You may not understand it right there what they're doing, but you will understand later what they are doing and what God is doing through them so that you can get to your next level. So, man, my son, just from that, allowing him to hear those words, of course, it's free will, but I would want him to hear that so that he can feel whole in who he is. Mhm.
It sounds lost, sound confusing, it sounds scary, it sounds depressed, despair, uncertainty, and so much other different things that these battles, these struggles that I face, and I guarantee that you brothers also experience that as well. Things that we can't even address, things that we can't even vent, we have to just keep in. And for the longest growing up, I just keep things in, and if I continue to do that, I would just implode.
This is an interesting question because, like John said, it could really get scary when you're fighting some battles. And I don't know if anybody else has felt like this, but this goes back to like this toxic masculinity thing of people always telling you as a man to when you go through your battles to suck it up and handle them and figure it out. Like as a man, how many times have y'all heard that line? Like you're a man, figure it out. You got it. Like that's what we're supposed to do. Men are supposed to figure it out and handle it. Um,
Mhm.
and I feel like we're always taught to go to the solution without feeling the pain. And I don't think if you don't feel the pain, you can never heal. So it's like, yeah, you're raising up a bunch of problem solvers, but you're raising up a bunch of broken problem solvers because nobody has ever healed from all the trauma.
Mhm.
So, like John said, they can get scary. And the issue is as well is I think a lot of people um, try to go through things by themselves. And not only is it a difficult battle, but it's a lonely battle. Um, And I think one of the biggest things about like helping people in times of need is having a good community around them because it takes a village, not just
Yeah,
to raise a child, but to keep a human. Um, and that's when I think it really gets scary is when we try to do those things by ourselves.
yeah,
You said like that fight inside, that battle inside your mind, whatever it is. Mine was very terrifying because I was always I expressed this to John before. I ran for myself a lot because I was scared of myself.
Mhm.
I was terrified of who I was, or who I was going to become, but I was also scared of what I would never be able to become. So it was a lot of fighting myself, a lot of schizophrenic aspects of me talking to myself in a way where it's like I really felt like I was a different person, looking
Mhm.
at myself in the mirror, telling myself how much I hate myself, hate you, I want you
Mhm.
to die, and everything else.
Mhm.
All that, and that's all emotion, everything I had built up because I wasn't allowed to cry. I wasn't allowed to express emotion. I couldn't take everything to my mom. I couldn't talk to my dad. I couldn't express to my brothers because they bottle themselves up as well. Everyone in my family would bottle themselves up, so I never knew how to express it. So I took it on myself a lot. So I felt a lot of my so that's a, it's a hard it's a frightening thing because when you're keeping everything in, keep in mind since you're the one keeping it in, that's you being your own enemy. So that's why I saw I'm blaming myself like, why are you containing me? Why are you holding yourself back? Why are you holding me back? And I'm telling myself constantly, stop talking, leave me alone, get out of my head, you're not real. But I'm talking to myself the whole time,
Mhm.
thinking I'm not real, thinking I'm fake, thinking I don't exist to a point where I felt
Mhm.
like I really became to feel like I was not a person at all. Like I would thought one day I'd wake up and I wouldn't be there.
Wow.
For me, I can take something from all of you guys. I do feel the same way. You get those feels of just like it's uncertain. It's fearful, it's depressing.
Mhm.
Um, doubtful. Just like you in certain moments like that, you just don't know kind of what to do. Especially if you don't have an outlet or you don't have nobody to talk to, then that doesn't help either. It kind of just gets worse. I think
Mhm.
John said like a therapist, right? So I've been saying like a therapist since I was in elementary school. Then I stopped and then I picked back up when I was like a freshman in high school. And
Mhm.
I still see a therapist to this day. I feel like it's beneficial, especially within the Black community. I definitely think it is. Um, you just you gotta find what works for you.
Yeah.
You definitely gotta find what works for you, and you gotta be able to stick to that. Don't let nobody take that from you.
Yeah. I've been in a point to where I've been in the car and I just had a complete meltdown just thinking of different things of real like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and I shared this with VOC that's the choir for those that's listening. It was actually that day we had rehearsal, and 2 hours before I was having to go to rehearsal, I just had a mental breakdown because it was like, okay, you are 35 years old and you're at a point in your life where you're not making X amount of money like your cousins are, you're not at a specific level, you still are renting and you don't own a house and you don't have any kids and the degrees that you have a bachelor's, you have a master's, but you still not making the money that you're supposed to be making. Was it worth it? And it wasn't worth it. All these voices are going on in my head. So I was literally like in my car, literally about to bust out crying because I was like, I felt like I was a failure because what I got with my master's, my bachelor's, it was for nothing.
I'm tired. Tired of waking up every day already at war with myself. Tired of wearing a smile while rage claws at my chest. Tired of swallowing memories that burn like acid. Of fighting shadows no one else can see. I'm so tired. I just want this endless battle inside me to stop before it consumes everything.
There's a hole in my heart. My soul is bleeding. I need to free my mind and see what I'm
I got it.
And everybody knows I work in a church context. So there will be times where, and I experienced, ever since I was a kid, sixth grade, before my dad really started, taking his health extremely serious. He saw his father die. He saw both of his brothers die. Everybody in his immediate family died. Um, and once that happened, he wanted to start taking his health serious. But before he started to lose the weight, he was 450 plus pounds. And I remember one time I was in sixth grade and I saw there was a picture circulating on the internet of Rick Ross's body and my dad's face.
Oh,
And those are the things, you know what I'm saying? And you deal with these things, not just the images, but the crazy things that people were saying about your dad. And then I had somebody come into church and call my mom a B word. And it's like these are the things where I I want to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't, all this turn the other cheek stuff, all this be righteous and be loving and kind. I'm gonna be real. I wanted to throw that out the window. It's like when people are playing with my loved ones in my family, I don't want to, like, especially at sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th grade. I didn't want to hear that.
yeah,
Forgive them. I'm trying to retaliate. It's like, what are we gonna do next? Like, how are we gonna fight this?
yeah.
And I felt like a lot of the anger that I grew, for a lot of people in that season of my life, it felt embarrassing to bring to God because it's like, yeah, you're supposed to love people. Like your parents literally are trying to set the example of forgiveness and love, even when people are being crazy to you. And I'm sitting here watching people talk crazy about my folks. And I'm like, y'all not gonna fight back? Like, it's like imagine somebody in the schoolyard just getting bullied and it's like, yo, hit the bully back. What are you doing?
Right.
And I felt embarrassed. It felt messy because I'm gonna be real. At times I wanted to ask, I'm asking God, ninth, 10th, 11th grade, I'm asking God to kill them. And I'm thinking about it like, is that crazy to ask, because it seems like if Bishop and Pastor aren't going to do something about it, the only other way to take care of it is for them to be gone.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just be real and transparent. I that was one of the things that in hindsight I felt embarrassed with. But I never took that to God until I felt as though it became apparent to me that my unforgiveness was holding me back.
Mm,
And I didn't want people who didn't even deserve it to keep holding me in bondage when they're still out living their lives, probably not even knowing that they had me in bondage.
right.
And I wanted to free myself, and that wasn't until recently, until the past 2 years. Keeping in mind, this is hate that I was harboring in my heart for 10 plus years. So it took 10 years of embarrassment of me not bringing it to God, but until it became unbearable, that's when it was like, you know what? I feel like everybody gets to that point, where you're like, you know what? I can't do this. I need God.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
That's a powerful testimony right there, Dr. Bishop.
Mm.
That is.
Sure is.
And some of those points I definitely could relate to. I had anger since childhood. I don't know how that came about. I know for a fact that my father had anger. My grandfather, which I don't recall ever meeting, probably had anger as well. So it's a generational curse.
Mhm.
Things that has happened to me. I used to be bullied back in elementary, pre-K, pretty much my whole entire time being at school. Too small, quiet. I didn't fit in with everybody. Got bullied, got harassed, didn't say nothing, and all that anger. And then it was just so much anger, not just for that, even being in a relationship, being taken advantage of. How I dated this lady and she just used me for my money, just used me as a so she could get her way.
Mm,
And so much anger behind everything. Just I didn't want to experience no more. Even with my son mother. Back at what 2012, the job at Home Depot. Got fired because I recently just got license for a forklift. Not even a minute later, my manager like, hey, I need you to go ahead and pick up all the pallets. I'm like, dude, I just got licensed. I don't feel I feel as though I can't do that just now. I need to work my way up. But like, nah, I need to do this, and pretty much put me on the spot. Had an accident. Nobody got hit, anything like that, but it was like the open doors. I hit that, like literally the camera, and that fell down. Found out literally the next day I got terminated. Not just that, because I had no job. The apartment that I used to live in DC, Southeast DC, my sister left because she didn't like my at that time my girlfriend, which is now my son's mother. We're not together, anything like that. They beat to the point that they literally was in a fight. Now I'm on the side between like, okay, I'm just trying to be the peacekeeper, I'm trying to separate. To the point that my sister resented me because of that. And now I have issues with my child mother. And I'm always been stuck in the middle of everything. Now, like, is my life is a joke? Like, my life had a purpose. I also had a gun back in DC. Went through the whole process to get a gun. My gun is literally like right here next to me. I have ammo for it. I'm just looking at it. Should I do this? Should I not? Yeah, to the point that I got so numb that in life, I didn't care what happened to me. I'll walk across the street, not even look both ways. I just be messing with weapons, just walking out in thunderstorms. Didn't even care. God, if your will, let it be done. Take me. Take away all this pain. We've had so much anger, so much sadness, so much grief. And then 2023, when I gave my life to Jesus, and since then, things have not been easy, even easier. And now I have a purpose, I have a reason. Because the stuff that I went through, I can help others as well. Because I've been in that situation, I've been in their shoes. So if you guys see me being positive, that means I have done something similar, if not the same thing that you guys did. So, but when I surrendered everything to God, that was it. I was liberated, no more incarcerated.
And one thing John says, one thing I tell people all the time, if you ever wonder why I push out motivation so much, it's because I don't want anyone to ever be in the state I was in. I said a time before, my mental, my emotional state, I would never wish out even on my enemies. At least not now, because I was. I felt like when you say ask, do I ever feel too messy with God? You're talking about getting saved at 13 years old, but you gotta keep in mind prior to that. Of course, I don't really know much, but I'm trying to learn. But at the same time, I'm tiptoeing back and forth between pornography and still being a short tempered, still trying to fight. Literally telling a relative to his face because he didn't agree with my lifestyle. I said I hope God kills you the next day, and then having to literally tell people all the time. I got into it with so many people sometimes. I almost got into it with my brothers in Christ over something so petty, so stupid. I felt like God couldn't bless me because I'm being so ignorant, being so petty, being so foolish. And then you're also my guy who would read his Bible and go back to looking at naked ladies and stuff, thinking that I'm good, but I'm not. And I know I'm not. And I'm just it's just that I guess I'll just paraphrase like this more so is that I had experienced being so up and down, up and down, up and down to the point that, of course, my anger would eventually take over. And then I was at a point. I said, you know what? I told people I got anger problems. Don't test me, but people felt the need to test me. So I said, that's not. So what happens to you is not my fault. It's your fault. But it's me not controlling myself. I'm blaming it on them. I'm like, you were warned. I can't control myself. I put my hands on. I broke my code in so many ways. I lied to get away from people. I put my hands on some. I'm like, I hit a girl once, and that's my biggest choice to never put my hands on a woman like that. I took advantage of a woman before, not in anything super bad, but in a way where it's just like I was like, if I'm doing this, you basically follow my rule, and like I can do what I want. Playing around with women's emotions and everything else, and I'm telling myself over and over again, God's not gonna be there for me. And I knew in my head, I knew it. One time someone asked, "You die today, where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to hell." I said, "I'm going straight to hell." And I know I would. I know I would. Problem is, the time I knew I was going to hell, I was so messed up. I said, you know what? If that's the case, I'm just gonna live my life the best way I can. Because I thought even after I was doing better, I said I still felt I was going to hell. God said, God's not gonna clean my rap sheet. God's not gonna clean this up. I said, I be talking to God straight up and then just messing up over and over again. I literally flirt with the devil, dancing around temptation, hanging with anger, and just being best buddies with pride and so much envy, and then allowing my jealousy to take over as well. Is that I feel like certain people deserve things, so maybe angrier, and I would treat people in a way where it's like everyone around me is no longer people. You're all just objects in my way, and I just want you all gone. Like so many people, all it took was you to just touch my shoulder, and I would swing because I'm like, no, everyone just leave me alone because one, I'm not right with God, I'm not right with myself, I'm not right with anybody else. So what am I gonna do? Keep keep playing with sin, keep playing with sin, keep playing with fire, keep putting my hand in the fire, keep burning myself purposely, doing things I'm not supposed to be doing, wearing my heart on my sleeve, constantly doing things I know I'm not got no business doing. But I did it anyway. Cause I said, yeah, this why not? It won't hurt. I'm good. Got arrogant in my walk with Christ to the point I was like, you know what? God gonna save me, so I'm still saved. So either way, it don't make a difference. If I just repent, I'm good. If I repent, I'm good. I'll do this again. I'll do it again. And the thing is though, that smoke, no. That drink, no. That have sex, no. Still a virgin. But that didn't stop me from doing all these other things that I knew were wrong. And it's my repeated knowledge, my knowledge of knowing I'm wrong. Like I'm like, yeah, I know I'm wrong. So I was like, either you fix me now, or I'm not gonna get fixed. I tell God, like, yeah, I'm messed up. You're the only one that can fix me. Like something has to happen. And then when I feel like I wasn't getting fixed enough, I'm like, why are you doing it to me? Why, God? I'm like, so angry with God. Like I feel like God was just torturing me, punishing me for things I feel like I had no control of. Like some of these things I have no control of at all in my life. I can't control how you feel about me. Why am I the enemy? Why am I the enemy? I do one mistake and then but I did 1,000 things right. One mistake, everyone branded me. Everyone's branding me a failure. Everyone's branding me trouble. Everyone's branding me pervert. Everyone's branding me a mistake. It filled me with so much hatred. And I'm like, God, I'm trying to get closer to you. Why are you causing people who say they love me to hate me? Why are you causing so much hate in my life? What did I do to deserve that? Is what I had to ask myself. I'm asking myself every day, God, what did I do to deserve this? I didn't want this. I never asked for this. Yet you feel the need, but you kept allowing it. And I try to be, scripture based. Oh yeah, what happened to Jesus? That's how Jesus, that's how to Moses, that's how everybody else. I'm like, God, I'm not them. They lived in a day where that was like custom, and everything else. I'm supposed to be living a new test, a new life of freedom and everything else. That's supposed to be a little better. But you're just, and I still feel like you're just torturing me. I feel like you're pinning. I feel like you're just getting ready to execute me. And to the point, like John said, he didn't care if God said, I said, God, why not just take my life? I almost died like 4 times in my life, specific 4 specific events in my life. I almost died, like clean out died. Like God, you saved me. So why you torture me? If you want to kill me, just kill me, please. Because I don't want this pain. I don't want to feel like this. I don't want the rejection. I don't want the loneliness. I don't want the anger. I don't want the hatred. So either you take it or just take me. Please decide. That was that's all I felt I carried. And there's still more I could say, but that's just summarize all that. That's just a summary about everything inside of me. What took me so I expressed before that the only thing that kept me, the only thing that allowed me to bring my brokenness was knowing that every day something in me told me every day, the fact that you're awake means there is something. There's something for you. There's someone out there. There are people that won't be there. But my only question was, how long do I have to wait? But thankfully, I held on, and now I'm here at the right place, the right time, with the right brother, with the right sisters, the right mentors, the right church, the right community. I know now why I'm playing out right, and I'm in the right area, better than what I could have been ever. Because now I've got peace to beyond beyond measures.
Um, it's so crazy because I feel like God orchestrates everything for a reason, right?
Yeah.
I literally, and I said I have a therapist. I had a session with my therapist on Friday. And so when y'all talk about healing, I'm gonna be very transparent with you guys. So back in 2019, and I'm gonna try to make this short. I don't know how much time we got, but back in 2019, I was in a car accident, and it was a fatal car accident.
Okay.
And it was car versus person. And unfortunately, I was the driver. I wasn't under the influence. I wasn't or anything.
Mm-hmm.
However, the pedestrian, they were. And he saw me coming and thought he could cross the street, and he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was something that just like crushed my soul. Because I feel like those who do know me, I would never intentionally do anything like that. And I just felt like at that time I questioned, and I know we're not supposed to question,
Yeah.
but for a long time I was asking why, like kind of why was I put in that position? And at that time I really didn't understand, and things had got so bad where it's like the state of Maryland tried to charge me with like charges and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get an attorney and all of that. And I want to say that went on for like almost 2 years going through that before I actually went to court and everything. But during just that whole journey, that whole process, I've never prayed so much in my life. And I always tell people that was actually around the first like times that I've kind of experienced, I guess, God just speaking back to me. I feel like we always hear people say God speaks to them in different ways, but what's so crazy is this happened December the 6th of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually on this was a Saturday. And it was almost midnight, so that was December 7th. That next day, I had logged on for service at City of Praise, and the sermon for that day was freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And that night that it happened, I was just praying for that. So throughout that whole process, I have never got a chance to speak into this man's family or anything. And My biggest fear was for them to think that this was something that was intentional or that I wasn't paying attention or just playing around. And in actuality, it was nothing like that. And I finally went to court a couple years ago, and I was told that his family will be present. And I think we talked about so far on this call, we always have like certain things in our mind, like what if we always
Yeah.
say like, what if things go this way? What if they don't like it? What if they be upset? Um, and I never once said to myself, what if it went the opposite way?
Mhm.
And I had went in there and they threw my case out. I only had to pay a fine of $125.
Wow.
They went through everything. This man was like very intoxicated, and I asked to speak to his mom because I felt like I wanted to just pay my respects, and I was so afraid. But the first thing that lady did to me was she embraced me and she hugged me so tight. And I tell people to this day, I feel like I feel like God Himself kind of hugged me in that moment because that's the first time I exhaled, like, actually just breathed, and just to hear her say, like, give me her blessing, and she wanted me to go on to live my life and do the things that I wanna do, and she just thanked me for staying and not, leaving and trying and cooperating and everything like that, and so that was years ago, and where I am now, I feel like every day is still a journey. It's still a journey, but the healing process, it takes time. Like, I was grateful. I was rejoiceful, and it's something that I'll never forget. So all I can say is healing, it comes in different forms. It's all about how you process it, how you deal with it.
Any final words of encouragement for any man just struggling um, with their mind? Any final words of encouragement, struggling with their pain? Go ahead. Whoever wants to go first.
I can go first. I would say it's simple. For me, I would say just pray through the process. Like that's the easiest way I can put it. Is continue to pray through the process.
I second that motion and just add to that, don't do it by yourself.
Danny, go ahead.
As a now being humble. Nah, I definitely agree. Yeah, you got to pray yourself through. That's one thing I'm strong about. And Jordan also said the key thing: don't do it by yourself. So it's the added of both of those. Just always find basically your therapy. Everyone has whether you have a therapist or something to do. Find your therapy. Me, I do poetry and I write. That's my therapy. Find something that can find a way to translate your emotion in a way that helps you benefit your way to express it.
John.
So I agree with all my brothers. And this final piece, you may not even never even heard of today, or maybe not at all. But you are loved, and I'm proud of you because the fact that you are here right now watching this podcast is a reason, it's a purpose. And just like how we all spoke on it, at times we could take our own life, something else could happen, but you here. We appreciate you. Continue to fight the fight and continue to allow God to lead you in everything. Because as a man, as a boy, we don't receive that as much. We don't receive that at all.
I agree. I completely agree with all of your words of encouragement. Amen.
Father, I'm gonna say thank you, even if I'm still hurt. Oh, I'm gonna say bless you. I wanna mean those wished you the best. I prayed for your peace. Even if you started this whole war in me. You did your best, or did you? Sometimes I think I hate you. I'm sorry, Dad, for feeling this. I can't believe I'm saying it. I know you were a trouble man. I know you never got the chance to be yourself, to be your best. I hope that heaven's given you a second chance. Father, I'm gonna say thank you. Even if I don't understand. Oh, you left us alone. I guess that made me who I am. Always wished you the best. I prayed for your peace. Even if you started this whole war in me. You did your best, or did you? Sometimes I think I hate you. Sorry, Dad, for feeling this. I can't believe I'm saying it. I know you were a troubled man. I know you never got the chance to be yourself, to be your best. I hope that heaven's given you to be yourself, to be your best. I hope that heaven's given you a second chance.